So how do you approach your to-do list every day? Like you do one thing and then you jump to another, or how do you plan that? This
Beautiful.
show is
Yeah.
about efficiency.
Oh, beautiful. Well, we got into the efficiency, and I think now I'm contextualizing it because you see, when you're serving that bigger purpose, you quickly can determine on your day, does this fit my big picture or not? If I know what my passion is, so for me, it's very simple. My passion is to speak. My passion is to speak about passion. My passion is to go on adventures and anything that has to do with wellness. So I can quickly determine, does it directly relate to these things? If it yes, I'll say yes to it. If it's maybe, I'll say maybe and I'll think about it and get back to you. And if it's a no, I can quickly tell you no, I don't even have to think about it. I can tell you with all due honesty, I don't see how it serves me or how I can serve you in the other way. So there's no point of me wasting time. So my decision-making ability now is laser sharp because I clearly know short, long term, everything that I want and where the big picture is. So when I'm putting my to-dos, the reality is all I got to do is I wake up in the morning and I say, what is the one thing that I need to achieve today to call today a success? Now that can be writing a document, that can be producing a Passion Sundays. So that sits as my anchor, and then everything else follows. So I say, okay,
you do it the first thing in the morning, and then
yeah,
you
have to. You have
yeah.
to. Actually, a lot of times I do it the day before. I'm so high energy when I wake up. I need to just go. I don't like. It's hard for me to calm down. I actually have to go for a jog and yoga and meditate before I start my day, just to kind of calm down my energy. And I believe in the methodology of David Allen. I think you interviewed him already.
Yes.
David Allen, getting things done. I mean, it changed my life. It took my productivity 10x because I quickly kind of use my passion kind of measurement of where does that fit in my life. And then I use his methodology of putting things in buckets.
Yeah.
And then when I feel
prioritize
and then, but don't get me wrong, I get overwhelmed as anybody else. I have sometimes very bad days. And when it gets that difficult, my methodology is one. I say, you know what?
Use a paper and pen or use a app or you...
Beautiful. You know what you're tackling now, something that I was just finishing on my Passion Sundays, interviewing Alan Pease, who's the grandfather of body language. And I asked him about writing versus, because we do a lot of writing in the Passion Journey course. And he says when you type, you use fewer brain connections. You probably use about hundreds. When you write, when you use your hand, you use about up to 2,000 neuron connections. So I do writing. I like to scribble. So I use OmniFocus on my Mac for my organizing stuff, for the general planning. However, for the day-to-day, I actually like to write it. And then I enjoy like scratching it. I'm like, I did it. It like gives me joy to scribble on it, like feel I've killed it by the end of the task. And if I'm doing anything that is big, long-term thinking, I like to do it in writing because it was that statement that I wrote once that came true. And I've seen it that whenever I type, I don't get the same effect on long-term stuff. However, it's not efficient also to write all the time. So what I do is I use the computer to organize stuff because it's easier to change when you're typing. Once I'm very clear on it, I write it so I don't have to scribble a lot. So it becomes a lot neater writing. I have very bad handwriting, that's why.
What's the top 3 apps that you use?
Well, the top thing for me, as I said, is OmniFocus. I mean, that using it with the methodology of David Allen. That's one thing I use. Definitely my calendar. So I use the calendar because the David Allen one gives you the buckets, but then I need to manage my day and I book appointments with myself. So let's say I need to finish a presentation. I actually put 30 minutes on my calendar where even my PA knows not to disturb me. I'm blocked for that time. If she needs a call, she schedule it later. Because otherwise, I'm on a to-do list and I never finish the to-do list unless I pin it on a calendar. I would say these are the top 2. And the third one that I use mind mapping. So I use Xmind for now because it's a free version. It allows me to mind map huge charts for projects that I'm working on. I still like to mind map with my hand, but only in initial stages because if you're going multiple layers and you need to really get big, doing it with the hand is not really practical. And every time you have to change, you have to redo the whole mind map. So I would say the top 3 is visualize the big picture using a mind mapping. break it down into smaller project chunks using OmniFocus or any to-do list, and then pin it on the calendar to specify that, and that's it. You're done.
How you're